Okay, imagine this for a second. You wake up tomorrow and you are, without a doubt, the richest person to ever walk the earth. Not just a billionaire, you're the world's very first trillionaire. You have what seems like ultimate freedom, the power to do literally anything you want. But what does that life actually look like when the fantasy becomes your reality?
Seriously, think about it. What is the very first thing that pops into your head? Are you going to buy an island, a sports team, or maybe, try to solve one of the world's biggest problems? It's a fun question, right? It's a dream we've all kind of had at some point.
All right, for the next few minutes, this isn't some hypothetical game. We're going to dive into what actually happens when that dream comes true. You are the trillionaire. This is your life now. So let's get into it. So the very first thing you'd realize isn't the power. It's the sheer, almost incomprehensible scale of it all. The amount of money you have is so enormous that the whole concept of money, it just starts to warp and honestly lose all meaning. I mean, just look at that number. 1,000,000 millions. It's an amount so big that our brains can't really process it in a practical way. It's less like a currency and more like a law of physics that now applies only to you. To try and put it into perspective, you could take the fortunes of several of the richest people on the planet, add them all together, and you'd still be wealthier. You're not just playing in a different league. You've basically created a whole new sport that only you get to play. Just let that sink in for a second. $1 million every single day for a time span longer than the entire Roman Empire existed. Actively trying to spend your fortune becomes a mathematical impossibility. It just can't be done. And this perfectly sums up your new reality. Let's say you want to upgrade your car. Well, you don't just go buy a Bugatti. No, you buy the entire Bugatti company for $2 billion. And the craziest part, your accountant just logs it as a rounding error because it's only 0.2% of your net worth. But this new reality, well, it comes with a heavy price. Everyone on the planet knows exactly who you are. Your face is on every screen. And that sudden, crushing fame creates this deep level of paranoia that no amount of money can fix. So your first priority isn't luxury, it's survival.
Your old home is immediately a security disaster. Paparazzi, strangers, just people standing outside 24/7. So you buy a massive 14-acre compound for $200 million without even thinking twice. It's hidden behind these huge walls, it's got its own private road, it's so vast you can't even see the main house from the gate.
Now, here's what's really wild. To run a place like that, it takes an army. Within just 1 month, you have 63 people on your household staff. And we're talking about housekeepers, groundskeepers, 2 private chefs on rotation, a whole IT team just for security, and even a personal assistant who has her own personal assistant. Your home isn't a home anymore. It's a corporation. So once the security is handled, you find yourself getting, well, a little bored. So you start making those crazy high-ticket purchases. A Boeing 747 that you gut and rebuild into a flying palace for $400 million. You buy a private island. You commission the largest private yacht ever built, complete with a helicopter pad, a submarine bay, even a full medical facility. But then you notice something truly bizarre. Even with all of this insane spending, your net worth is still going up. That $1 trillion, even if you stick it in the most boring investments on earth, is making you tens of millions of dollars every single day while you sleep. Your wealth has become a force of nature, and it's growing faster than you can possibly spend it. And this is where the really terrifying part of this reality starts to sink in. You have everything money can possibly buy, but you're starting to realize you've lost all the simple, normal, human things that money can't. One morning, you wake up and all you want is just a normal cup of coffee from that little shop you used to go to for years. No private chefs, no staff, just a simple, anonymous moment from your old life. How hard could that possibly be, right? Well, it turns out it's a complete logistical nightmare. Your security team needs 45 minutes of advance notice just to go and clear the area. When you finally walk in, the entire place just goes silent. Every single person stops what they're doing and they just stare while pretending to discreetly film you from behind their laptops. And here's the kicker. The coffee, it tastes exactly the same, exactly as you remember. But the world around you, the experience, it's completely alien. You're not a person anymore. You're a spectacle, an animal in a zoo. And you decide, you know what? it's not worth being a nuisance. And you just stop going out.
That public isolation, that's one thing. But what's way more painful, what really starts to break you, is the way the money poisons your private life. It creates this huge, unbridgeable gap between you and basically everyone you've ever known. Think about your old college roommate, for instance. You invite him over to your compound, but the guy who used to argue with you about movies and politics, he's gone. He's been replaced by a yes man who agrees with every single thing you say and laughs at jokes that aren't even funny. The friendship just feels hollow because he's not your equal anymore. He's just intimidated. So your old friends kind of fade away, but your phone never stops ringing. But the calls aren't from people asking how you are. They're from people who want something from you. Lawyers, wealth managers, even heads of state. Every single conversation becomes a transaction. Every interaction is a negotiation. And all of this leads to the final chilling stage. You've built this perfect, secure, luxurious world for yourself. But in the process, you've accidentally constructed a prison, a beautiful gilded cage where you are the only inmate. Then the lawsuits start pouring in. In just the first 6 months, 17 different cases are filed against you. By people you've never met, from states you've never even been to. Your lawyers call them frivolous, but they tell you to get used to it. Because when you are the deepest pocket on earth, the legal system just becomes a weapon for people to try and take what you have. And the betrayals become personal. They cut so much deeper. A staff member you really trusted sells photos of your home to a tabloid. An old friend sells an embarrassing story from your college days. You try to help your own brother out financially, and the money completely destroys your relationship. Trust becomes a luxury you simply can no longer afford.
And so this is where it all ends. You're alone, just walking the halls of your massive, empty compound at 3 in the morning, and it is dead silent. As you move from room to room, the only sound you hear, the only companion you have, is the faint, mechanical hum of a security camera, turning to follow your every single step. So you have the power to buy companies, to reshape entire industries, to own anything you could ever possibly desire. But in gaining the world, you've lost the ability to actually live in it. The paradox is that the ultimate freedom has cost you all the small, simple freedoms that really matter. So the final question is, was it worth the price?